I'm a 3D artist, and in this video, I turned basic Minecraft mobs into the most terrifying and cracked boss designs I could come up with, and even showed them to a professional Minecraft artist to rate them from 1 to 10. And we're starting with the Creeper. For this one, I started by making the legs really long and skinny. I'm really trying to lean into the disturbing plant aspect here. I've always thought the base model kind of looks like a bacteriophage, so I decided to give him 6 legs instead of 4. Next, I gave him scoliosis, and for the head, I'm not really sure what to do. I wanted to give him a creepy Venus flytrap look, but I accidentally made a xenomorph. I guess that's an acceptable outcome. I'm keeping the creeper face, but like a little more subtle with it. Next, I gotta add the leg hairs or leg spikes. I don't know what these are, I just work here. For the texture on this one, I'm trying to make it look a little bit less like vomit. The color palette isn't too far off or anything, just a bit more dark and evil. A couple more hairs should do it, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you turn a creeper into a... what do we call this? The primal creeper is a better, stronger, faster ancestor to this pile of green substance. And if you look closely, you'll actually notice some behavioral differences between the two, such as vomiting dozens of TNT like a fountain towards your general location. It has a few patterns it can pick from, like the shotgun pattern, which is just a direct launch, pretty self-explanatory. The arc pattern, which scatters them through the air perfectly in time to explode on landing. There's also a circle TNT pattern, which TNT patterns a circle out of TNT using the circle pattern. Oh, the egg pattern just kills you if you get too close by dropping this number of TNT if you approach the inner range. The boss is also immune to explosions and has permanent level 1 regen since it's like a plant or something. It's pretty fun to fight and try to dodge all the TNT. This is probably the most destructive entity in the entire game by kind of a large margin, but to make up for it, the actual health pool it has is pretty low, so you can finish it off pretty quick from a distance. Honestly, it's more like a mini boss than a real boss. Just don't summon it by anything important and you'll be fine. Wait, how do we actually summon it though? The putrid egg is modeled after the sniffer egg, and if it happens to get broken or hit by an explosion, the primal creeper will be summoned and promptly destroy everything in the general vicinity. But it doesn't just show up, there's a special way to obtain it, and it involves this special block called Detonite, which is a new ore that generates pretty deep, and the fun thing about this ore is that it explodes whenever you touch it. Try to mine it? Nope. Running through a cave in the dark? Good luck. The only way to obtain it is to mine it with Silk Touch, which gives you these Detonite crystals. And these can be used to craft dense TNT, which is like normal TNT, but with slightly more explosive capabilities. I think Detonite should be a stronger stand-in basically anytime you use gunpowder, dense fire charges, dense firework rockets, dense splash potions. Makes sense, right? The ore is pretty rare though, so it will unfortunately be pretty balanced. At least it would be, but this is where the Detonite geode comes into play. If you craft 9 Detonite crystals together, you get this Detonite block, which also explodes whenever you touch it, but without breaking, so you can just keep exploding. And if you're very lucky, you can find a geode of this stuff out in the wild, kind of like the amethyst geode. And yeah, remember that putrid egg that spawns a mini boss whenever something explodes on it? How about we just put that right in the middle of this geode, so you can try to be greedy, harvest all the Detonite, and risk summoning the creature. You could ignore it altogether, or you could make some kind of trap for it before extracting. So the main reason to fight this thing is just to get a bunch of free explosive stuff, but it also drops a bunch of gunpowder, maybe a couple other things. And while we're at it, I decided to make a shiny Pokemon version, which has a 2% chance to replace this guy on spawning. You can tell it's more powerful because it has Greek in the name. This one's got a black color scheme. Man, now it really looks like a xenomorph. Maybe we give it the glowing red eye treatment. Now this one actually behaves exactly the same, except for one small detail. Instead of shooting normal TNT, it shoots the new dense TNT variant, which is considerably more difficult to fight against. However, if you can manage to defeat it, it drops like Ender Dragon XP, 3 stacks of Detonite crystals, which works out to about 38 of the dense TNT. That's about enough to just remove a whole mountain from existence. I'm really liking this one. I happen to think caving should be more dangerous, so that's gonna bias my opinion. But if I'm gonna impress the blockbench artist, I'm gonna need my next boss to make this one feel simple in comparison. This one's looking pretty complicated, so I got my friend to help with the modding this time. My Git history is looking like I'm due for a mental breakdown, but now more than ever, it can actually be a lot of fun to learn this stuff. Boot.dev, for example, is a platform that teaches mostly back-end development and uses achievements, items, XP, levels, and boss fights to make it feel like you're playing a video game, which is usually going to be more motivating than popping open a 17-hour tutorial and hitting Alt-Tab 10 million times. They're one of those hands-on types of platforms where you mostly build projects instead of just learning theory, which is what you actually do at a job in the first place. Not that I've ever had one, am I right? They've even got a whole leaderboard where you can see your exact ranking next to everybody else, and a whole Discord hierarchy power structure community with 70,000 20,000 people in it. So if you've been thinking of learning some software development yourself, boot.dev could be a great place to start. Big thanks to them for sponsoring the video. Check it out today using my code DanielKrafft to get 25% off your entire first year on the platform. And there's even a 30-day no questions asked refund policy, so you can try it out risk-free and see if it's something you'd like. But that's enough of that. Let's get back to the video. For my next boss, I wanted to redesign the Guardian. My bright idea for this one is basically to turn it into a Leviathan from Subnautica. So we're starting with one basic segment with 4 spikes and a fin on top. It doesn't look like much on its own, but you can repeat it as much as you want to make it look more impressive than it actually is. I'm not sure what to do for the head, so I started blocking out some kind of dragon jaw with these extrusions for the front teeth. It even hinge rotates around what I think are the eyes. Sure, let's go with that. For the colors on this one, I'm keeping the Guardian palette of orange and cyan, but a little bit more saturated. This is when I entered a flow state and started drawing mechanical detail after detail. The pixel art just started flowing through my veins directly onto the screen. We got this serrated pattern on the teeth, Mayan influences here and there. The fin, it's supposed to be like a pipe with a hair comb steering material. I even tested out 5 different levels of noise to see which one fits the Minecraft style the closest. I don't know what got into me for this. Usually my pixel art is a lot more lazy, but that's the thing about mechanical designs, you know, you can just keep adding random nonsense and pass it off as fictional technology. But the visuals only get us so far, so let's talk about mechanics. The Condemned Guardian is actually multiple individual entities, kind of like the Ender Dragon. It's not hostile or anything, it just kind of sits there being an absolute chiller until you attack it. It's made of 12 segments total, 3 of which are these vulnerable segments, which I made to be bright orange with a big X panel on every side, so that it's immediately visually distinguishable from the rest of the segments. You might also notice this big gearbox thing at the back of each segment, which are basically there to hold everything together. However, even though this dude is mostly invincible and you can't even touch it because of the spikes, the orange segments take damage just like anything else, and the rest of the pieces just kind of snap back together like nothing happened. Once you attack it, it starts circling you like a vulture and occasionally dive bombs you. Its eyes do glow in the dark, but it's probably good to have night vision for this anyway because of the water density. It's kind of a rough time fighting this thing. It's not like these are just hanging out in the open or anything though. They only spawn in this super rare basement that you can find under an ocean monument. These things can already be pretty hard to find, so the chances it just spawns on you are pretty much zero. My editors built this one since it's a little bit beyond the scope of my attention span. It's big enough to contain the Guardian though, and we added a bunch of new blocks to help decorate it. I've always loved using this dark prismarine block, but it only comes in one color, so we added a few more of them, one for each dye color to be exact. And that's just the 4x4 tiles. We also did the 2x2 and the stairs and slabs. I feel like there's a lot more cool stuff to be built with this, but if I'm gonna impress the mod developer, we gotta address the missing elephant in the room, which is of course rewards. Why would you ever voluntarily fight this thing given the spikes and the drowning? Well, the answer is something that I haven't seen Mojang do before, so I'm not sure if it's a great idea yet. Of course, it drops all the regular stuff, tons of fish, prismarine, gold, sponges, XP, but the real reward is a new item called the Watchful Eye, which is a weapon, but not the regular kind. As long as it's in your inventory, it gives you a passive Guardian laser effect that automatically targets hostile entities in a 15 block radius every 5 seconds, just like the actual Guardians. Since the effect is literally copied over, it has all the same quirks. It doesn't shoot through walls, it only does 3 hearts of damage, but since it happens automatically, it could prevent you from getting sneak attacked and deal support damage over time. And multiple items actually give you multiple instances of the effect, so you could spam defense in exchange for losing inventory space. The possibilities are endless and concerning, but just in case this boss wasn't hard enough already, I made the shiny variant with this blue and gold color scheme. I think this might be my favorite design I've done so far, but it doesn't matter what I think because it was finally time for the actual professional to judge my work.
I mean, that's a creepy design. Also, the way that the jaw was shaking in game, super creepy. What I really like about it is the color palette, how this seems to like blend with the Minecraft textures of the leaves and grass in most biomes, as opposed to the regular creeper, which kind of stands out in the background of it. So I would be completely jump scared if this showed up.
Yeah, so this is the shiny variant.
Oh, now that's cool. Oh, I mean, I look at it, and even though it has more legs, I still think it inherits enough creeper-esque elements. It ticks the boxes for me. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I think this one lands at a solid 8. I'd have to give it a higher score if it was more vanilla looking, but it also has that nice modded, expanded upon the game lore kind of universe aspect to it. This guy, from a design perspective, the color palette of orange and cyan together is impeccable. Just from that standpoint, beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful design all throughout. has a bit of Legend of Zelda vibes to it. It's a bit terrifying in it, especially in Minecraft. We haven't seen anything robotic, but this really has something going for it. I mean, it looks like a boss. That's what I say. It feels like it's an addition to the game world. It isn't just your everyday, hey, here's Minecraft plus something cool. This feels like its own unique component. That's also where the big challenge lies here. Like, if I look at this, I wouldn't say, hey, oh, this feels very Minecraft. Like I said, I saw Legend of Zelda because I think of the vibrant colors and the aesthetic to it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I think this one, from a Minecraft aesthetics perspective, kind of falls in, I would say, a 5-6. Cohesively, I definitely want to give this like a 9, but I still think I want to balance it out and probably put this on like a 7.5 out of 10. But this has so much potential going for it, and I would love to see it expanded upon, like more of these kind of creatures in this visual aesthetic.
With that, I kinda impressed the Blockbench artist, which means it's back to the drawing board until it's 10s every single time. See ya.